Hello friends, thanks for joining me today. It has been like half a year since I've read a Sarah J. Maas book, but I have several series going that I would like to either finish or make progress on this year in 2024, ACOTAR being one of them. So I finished book 3, A Court of Wings and Ruin, and I'm going to chat about it here. This is going to be a spoiler review discussion, so if you don't want to be spoiled, please save this video for later. So this picked up in the Spring Court shortly after book 2 ends, and Feyre is essentially doing espionage and sabotage in the wake of Tamlin making that deal with the King of Hybern in exchange for getting Feyre back. And she's pretending that she still loves him and wants to be with him when she actually hates his guts, and after she plants some seeds, she escapes back to Velaris with Lucien in tow and works with Rhys and her court as High Lady, planning for war with Hybern. And I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, and it had more of what I love about Maas's writing. Interesting characters, great world building, cool fight scenes, just her simple, accessible writing style. And the main reason that I didn't round this up to 5 stars isn't because I didn't enjoy the plot and story, but there are other common elements of her writing style that I'm not as big a fan of, that just kind of, I don't know, it felt cranked to 11. And I know that this is mostly just my preference, but I really started to feel unimpressed and fatigued by how much snarling and growling and vying for dominance was just being done mostly by all of the Fae males. And it gets so bad during the meeting with all the High Lords. Like, I knew it was coming. I knew going into that part of the book that it was just going to be bad, and it totally was. The testosterone was just through the roof, but even outside of that scene, it just felt like there was just a lot of that going around, and I don't love that. Never have. And even though, you know, the wording might be slightly changed each time, there was just like so much of Feyre being like, you know, I have never seen him so furious, over and over again. Like, each time she had never seen them so angry, or, you know, whatever it is. And that kind of wording just kind of loses its impact when every other time you see someone flex their power, it's the most intimidating they've ever been, or the most scared you've ever been, etc. It felt like there were a lot of repeated phrases and words that just really stood out, and like the one coming to mind is the phrase, "he stilled," or, you know, someone stilled. This book was just riddled with that, and of course the words growled and snarled are just everywhere. And this happened enough that I noticed it, definitely noticed it, but you know, these powerful ancient Fae creatures sticking their tongues out at each other as a retort, like they're 10 years old, like more than once, more than twice, it's just like, nah, 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 nah. Like, it just, like, I don't know, it just was more ridiculous than cute and quirky, in my opinion. And I know that that's a lot of kind of negativity to start off this review, but I did enjoy it. Like I said, I gave it a 4. I love Maas's world building, and aside from the things that I just talked about, I like her simple language and non-flowery writing style. That is my preference. You can really see the strong bonds of love and family between the main characters. Unfortunately, I don't have much to say about the spiciness in this book. There is more of it in this book than A Court of Mist and Fury, which makes sense, but that stuff is the least important aspect of her books to me. I don't really care about it, so it was fine. But one thing I was bummed about is that Lucien wasn't in this book nearly enough. He's my favorite character, and I need him to be more delved into and focused on, please. I was reflecting on that earlier and realized that he is not the first red-haired, fox-themed boy that I have gravitated towards. i.e. Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho. He's my fave, he's my bae. And as frustrating as things were between them, I did appreciate that Lucien and Elaine's relationship wasn't just, you know, rushed or forced to work just because they're mates. I really hope the two of them get some focus and love in future books. Oh yeah, I have more things to say that will probably make people mad. I did talk about this already in my review of A Court of Mist and Fury, but I have to come back around to do it again. I love Tamlin as a character study in like the meta sense. You know how, you know, there are characters in books or movies that are bad or evil, but you still like them and like can appreciate them even though you also kind of hate them? That's Tamlin for me. Like, no doubt he fucked up and was abusive, and I fully support Faye Sand. Tamlin deserves most of the hate he gets, but as the saying goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Even though his actions were selfish, he was motivated by his love for Feyre. Like, it wasn't healthy, and it was not what she needed or deserved, but his love turned sour and rotten, and that is so compelling to me narratively. I am fascinated by stories about good people who go bad, and I think that that's Tamlin. I felt a little bad for him at the end of this book. When it counted at the end, he did the right thing. He put Feyre first over his own greed, his anger, and his resentment, and she recognized it at the end too. And I hope that he gets some redemption before the series ends. And I've always liked that in ACOTAR, there are Fae that were actual creatures and monsters, you know, rather than them all being beautiful like the High Fae. And I loved all the moments where Feyre interacted with, you know, the Carver, Bryaxis, and the Suriel. The Suriel's fantastic. I'm glad I finally got to see Amryn as she truly is as well, and I'm certainly not mad that she wound up coming back to life, but I think that it would have made perfect sense if she had just passed on or whatever her fate would have been. But, you know, fan favorite, I'm sure we couldn't let her go. And the final confrontation between Hybern and Prythian's armies was epic and cool, as I expected. The most hype moment for me in this whole book was when Daddy Archeron, you know, he's the Prince of Merchants, just comes sailing in with an armada and 3 ships named after each of his daughters. That just, I don't know, came out of left field for me, caught me off guard, badass, and just adorable. And it just made me feel things. And then, shortly after, he's murdered by the king. So that was a big downer. Emotional whiplash. But in my opinion, I don't think that Hybern should have been that easy to kill. Meaning, I think that it's kind of stupid that Elaine was able to like somehow sneak up on him without him noticing and just stab a sword through his neck. Like, it just felt too convenient that he didn't notice her coming up behind him. Like, he's super powerful. I think he should have been able to hear her coming. It was very poetic, and I guess, you know, satisfying that he was ultimately taken down by the Fae that he created, but I feel like he should have been able to, sorry, there's flies in this room, I have plants. I feel like he should have been able to sense her coming and, you know, whirl around to dodge or knock the sword away. I don't see any reason why she was able to pull that off aside because of plot. And yeah, I know I kind of threw a lot of shade in this review, but I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed this for the same reason I've enjoyed all the other books in the series, for the most part, all her other books. There isn't really much new to say in terms of praise in that way, but there were a few things that stood out to me in terms of, you know, just my thoughts and criticism that I just wanted to talk about. You know, it's good to be critical about the things we love, and at the end of the day, I can say that despite all of those things, I still really like the book, and I'm interested to see what happens in the next arc. Even if it means I have to read about mean, bitchy standoffish Nesta. Even after spending so much of this book around her, I still haven't warmed up to her much. I've disliked her from book 1, and that hasn't changed too much since. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know, I can't be the only one though. Like, I think that people love Nesta, but there have to be other people out there who just find her really insufferable. I'm hoping that being inside her head for book 5 will kind of help endear her to me and help understand her more, and maybe she'll chill out a little bit. We'll see. At least I'll have Cassian's, playful sass to counteract her sourpuss attitude, I guess. So there it is, my review of A Court of Wings and Ruin. Thank you for watching. I hope that you're enjoying your current read, and I plan to read The House of Earth and Blood, which is the first book in the Crescent City, because I was advised by someone at the bookstore to read that before I read A Court of Silver Flames. So I'll take a little break from ACOTAR to read that and then come back. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy, and I will see you next time. Bye!